Okay, guys, so our third video on our paper clay sculpture. So you can see, and it's a little hard to see, but you can kind of see if I bring her up close that I got some detail on like the face, and I added, like some paws and changed the position of the legs and things like that to give them a little bit more detail. A couple of things to note. I was a little worried that the new paper clay that I added on the second or third day to the old paper clay that had already dried might not stick. But you can see I can pick this guy up by his tail. I can push on the belly. Nothing moves. He's like a rock. So the recipe worked really well. One thing about the recipe, and this could just be because it was the first time that I used it, and I didn't smooth out the surface as much as I might try on the next one. Um, the surface was a little bumpy. So what I'm doing here is kind of taking advantage of that. Instead of trying to hide that and continue to try to smooth it out, I'm going to let that be a part of the character of the piece and kind of accentuate it. So I painted it in black, and it took me a little bit of time to get it down into all the little nooks and crannies. And if you look close, there are still some areas that I might not have gotten it into, but I really had to like jam my brush down in there. You could use spray paint, and that might make it a little bit easier if you have that. But I was eventually able to get a black base coat everywhere. I've let that dry, which brings up another point. I was also a little concerned that when I painted it, the moisture in the paint would soften this back up, but not the case. He has endured that. So what I've done is I've gotten a little silver acrylic paint from Plaza, but you could find this probably at Walmart or Myers, a store like that as well. Got a little paper plate for myself, and I have a brush here. It's a dry brush. I haven't added any water to it. And what that's going to allow me to do is to kind of brush over the surface of this black. And what's going to happen, you can see it starting to happen, is because the paint is somewhat dry and the brush isn't wet, the color is going to sit on the high spots, but not the low spots. So I'm going to like bring out that texture even more. So I'm going to get this metallic sort of look on him, but also in areas like the face, if I brush lightly, it's going to further accentuate some of the details that I was able to pull out with my tools, because it's going to accentuate the shadows that are there. So you can see the face has a little bit more character now. So I'll continue doing that, and you could do this with a sponge as well, just dabbing your sponge and dabbing it on there. That would work as well. And you'll probably have to like paint it, look at it, and then maybe adjust the pose so that you can get spots that you weren't able to get when you first started. I don't know, but I think with 2 layers of paint, I'm starting with a dark color and adding a light color to it, you can make this look a little more professional and pull out that texture while keeping the gesture of the piece. And you could go ahead and add a third color if you wanted to. It doesn't have to be metallic. It could be anything that you like. You could start with a brown, add a yellow over the top of it, or what have you. But it feels like a more finished piece to me now. I'll get you a slightly different view with my camera. You can see there he is. I keep thinking it might be fun to like put a ball in here, so it's like he's kind of playing with the ball, but I'm pretty happy with how he's ending up here. So there you go. There's our final look at our paper sculpture. Hope you had fun with this one, guys.